Hi, I'm Mike. Recently, I started to talk to a few normal people, not nerds like me. I've been in software and tech for years, and I realized that some of the things about AI I took for granted, some normal people were a little fuzzy on. So I thought, why not do a easy to understand video on some of the basics? So I'm going to answer a few questions. What is AI? How does it work? Will it take my job? What are the different types of AI? How much does it cost? Is it a security risk? Is it easy to get? Is it easy to use? What industries will AI affect? And should I be worried? Don't worry, try to make it easy to understand. Let's go. So what is AI and how does it work? Imagine a computer can learn the way you do, the way a small child does. Or think about how a parrot learns. Lots of practice. This is AI. It's a computer that learns. We learn through patterns and predicting what may happen next. Let's do an experiment. I need to get milk. I need to go to the... What's the next word? A random thing like battery? A random verb or adjective like puzzled? Or is it shop? Or could it be dairy? Maybe fridge? It depends a little on the context. If you knew I lived on a farm, or maybe it was dairy. If I was upstairs and you knew milk was downstairs, maybe you'd say fridge. You get my drift. Just like you can predict the next word, this is how AI does it also. And just like training a parrot, the next word can be predicted. AI has been around for many years. It's in Netflix when it suggests the next show. It's in shopping websites suggesting the associated product. It was invented in the 1950s, but really the general public didn't really see anything meaningful to the 2010s. Many people had seen social media platforms like Facebook change what appears in people's feed from whatever was posted last to a curated feed of items they think you would like. It was around, but not in the news. In 2022, OpenAI released ChatGPT. It brought AI into the news and it had an interface that we all could use. I'm sure some people may have seen some people's emails and text improve and add useless little filler words that made us sound not like us. Today, almost weekly, something new is released or improved. It has hit the mainstream. Will AI take our jobs? Before we dive in, let's remember one important thing. No one can truly predict the future. Not me, not the so-called experts, not even the professors and AI experts. We're not great at predicting the future. People love making bold predictions. But if you look back at history, the experts have often got it spectacularly wrong. The most recent US election was a prediction to be close or a win for the Democrats. Ba-bow. For example, hardly any of the experts saw the 2008 financial crash coming. Studies even show that when it comes to predicting the stock market, so-called experts don't do any better than a monkey throwing darts at a board. In other words, you can take prediction with a grain of salt. There are some extreme views on AI. There's a wide range of opinions on what AI will do to our jobs. On one extreme, some folks think AI will run wild, changing everything in ways we can't control. There's this famous story about telling an AI to make as many paper clips as possible. The AI figured out that humans get in the way to making that perfect paperclip production, so it decides to get rid of us. Of course, this is doomsday scenario, like the Terminator, and it's pretty extreme. On the other extreme, some people believe AI will create a golden age, better healthcare, more services, heaps of free time. They think we'll have abundance like never before, with new industries and new opportunities popping up everywhere. Utopia. Chances are the truth will sit somewhere in the middle. Throughout history, people have worried about new technologies killing off their jobs. Once, most people worked on farms, breaking their backs to grow food. Today, with tractors, irrigation systems, and clever machines, just a small percentage of the world's population works in agriculture. Yet we grow more food than ever and feed more people than ever before. 100 years ago, no one would have imagined jobs like podcaster, YouTuber, social media manager, but here we are. So while some jobs may disappear, new ones we can't even imagine yet will appear. It happened before, and it'll probably happen again. Some argue that AI is different because it's not just a tool, it's more like a brain. In the past, when machines took over heavy physical work, we moved to smarter tasks. We went from digging in the dirt to driving tractors and eventually to doing office work and working with computers. But if AI can think and learn, what's left for us? Some say jobs that rely on human creativity, emotional intelligence, and personal connection might become more valuable. Instead of having a huge call center of people who can only handle a few calls in an hour, imagine one person using AI tools to handle 10 times as many, but delivering better service for that really specialized, personalized person that needs some special attention. It's likely that some jobs will vanish. I think that most people think that's true. We are seeing signs of this right now. Others will change. Some entirely new jobs will pop up that we can't even dream of right now. In the short term, companies might replace large groups of workers with AI-driven systems. But if too many people lose their jobs and can't earn money, who will buy the company's products? There's a balance that the economy has to maintain. Looking ahead, in the long run, maybe we'll all have time to do more of what we love. Maybe we'll be working alongside AI, giving us time for our hobbies, family, and relaxation. Or maybe we'll need to constantly learn new skills to keep up. Right now, nobody knows for sure. In 2005, I personally sold automation software to the printing industry. The promise was the automation increased the amount of jobs you could put through or decreased labor. But the savings never really materialize. Now, there's an industry that's significantly shrunk. I'm now in software. Will this be the AI story? So, will AI take your job? I don't know, and neither does anybody else. What we do know is that change is coming. Your best bet is to stay flexible, keep learning, and pay attention to how these new tools are developing. History shows that we've always adapted, and I think we'll do it again. In short, don't panic. No one can predict the future. Expect changes in some industries. Be ready to learn skills or shift into new roles. And most importantly, keep an open mind because the world has a funny way of surprising us. So what are the different types and what exactly are the AI chatbots that everyone's talking about? You know, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and the rest. Well, in the tech world, we call them foundation models. And they're one specific type of AI that are really good at working with language. Think of them like super-powered librarians. Imagine a librarian who has somehow read every single book ever written, speaks every language, and has an incredible memory. That's kind of what these AI models are like. Just like our librarian friend, these foundation models can pull from their vast knowledge to answer questions, help you write something new, translate languages, take complex topics and explain them simply, and have this back and forth conversation with you. But here's the interesting part. While these AI librarians might seem incredibly smart, they're actually what we call specialized or narrow AI. They're tools, incredibly sophisticated tools, but still just tools. They don't truly understand or think like we do. And when you ask, can you do this thing? There is no you in the AI. There's no embodied human in there. Instead, they're more like pattern recognition machines that are really, really good at working with language. They've been trained on massive amounts of text, books, websites, articles, you name it. And they've learned to recognize patterns in how humans use language. It's kind of like how a master chef might be able to create amazing Italian dishes, but wouldn't know the first thing about fixing your car. These foundation models are masters of language, but they're not the general purpose AI minds that we see in the Terminator science fiction movies. Let's talk about how you can actually get your hands on these tools. The good news, most of them are just a few clicks away. Let's start with ChatGPT, probably the one you've heard most about. It's made by a company called OpenAI, and you can use it in two ways. You can use it for free through the website or a mobile app, which gives you access to the older version or the older model, which we'll go into shortly. It's about $20 or about 35 Australian dollars a month. And you can get ChatGPT Plus, which gives you the latest model called GPT-4. And it's generally smarter and faster the later the model. And they've just recently released a model called O1 that actually thinks things through. Just before Christmas, they released the Pro model for $200 a month. And they also they actually announced a thing called O3. They didn't do O2 because someone else has that name. And they did the O3 model and they announced some of the benchmarks. Interestingly enough, it was reported to be in the thousands of dollars to answer some of these benchmark questions, in excess of $3,000 US to answer some of these PhD level questions. Great performance, but this may be the harbinger of things to come, is that the really smart stuff may cost a fair bit of money. Let's just stick with the free stuff for now. We'll get that in another video. Next up is Google's Gemini. You can try it for free through the Google app or on your phone, the Google website. Google is also adding AI to the normal searches in a thing called Search Generative Experience, SGE, where it just appears when we search for stuff on Google. Side note, Google has been the yellow pages of the last 10 years and is one of the globe's richest companies, as many businesses pay to be found. Google literally invented the technology that may put a big dent in their search business. ChatGPT released web search and others answer question in their AI products. Like this SGE, no need to look elsewhere, boom, there's the answer. Be careful, it's not always correct. More on this later. Google has something they call One AI Premium for about the same price as ChatGPT. Google started slow, but just prior to Christmas released a lot of groundbreaking features. If you had an Android phone, you may see more and more AI creep into every feature on your phone. Then there's Claude, made by a company called Anthropic. You can also chat with it for free on their website, use it through their mobile app, or get Claude Pro for, again, about $20, 35 Australian dollars a month. I personally like Claude, and these guys have a pretty good product. It would seem almost every week a big name drops a new release, beating old benchmarks. And this is almost like every few months these guys are releasing stuff. There's a ton of marketing hype out there, but it makes it really, really hard to keep up with what's new and what's great. But wait, there's more. Microsoft has built in AI right into their browser and Copilot in Windows 11 and AI assistants. They have got it in their cloud platform called Azure, and they have tools there that can be used by enterprise software developers like SSW, and even Microsoft Office through some features that need a subscription. Some of the offerings are called Copilot, and you can pay for it. It's pretty cool. Others, there's Grok from X. Elon Musk's social media platform is apparently investing big time in AI, and it's cheaper than the others for now. And then there's Inflection, Ernie from China, Amazon Titan. They're all got different use cases, but there's a ton of them. I don't think I've even listed half of them for here. Then there's the open source models. Open source sort of means free, sort of. Companies make money from these using services that surround the software, hosting, tools, expertise, or they release a basic version for free and the good one costs money. In some cases, the open source community attracts nerds and researchers who help grow the product. For instance, WordPress is a website that has been available for many years, and it's reportedly more than 30% of the internet. So open source is a pretty good strategy. Our friend, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg from Meta, has a product called Llama. like the offering within X. It's in your Messenger app, and it's pretty good. These AI assistants aren't just good with words. They can work with images, videos, and even talk to you with a human-like voice. They can even write songs and music from just a prompt. We call this multimodal AI. But don't worry about the fancy term. Think of it just like, imagine you have a super smart friend who's not just great at reading and writing, but it can also look at photos and tell you what's in them. What model of drum set do you think this is?
It looks like a Roland V-Drums kit, possibly from the VAD series.
Create beautiful artwork from your descriptions, listen to you speak and understand different languages, talk back to you in a natural sounding voice. Can you do an Australian accent?
Sure thing. Here's some Australian accent for you. How's that sounding?
Not too bad. What about a guy's Australian accent?
No worries, mate.
Watch videos and tell you what's happening in them. Can you see that? Can you tell by looking at my fingers?
Yes, I can see your finger placement. It looks like you're playing a G major chord.
Translate real time, generate music in any style, plus a ton more. It's like giving AI different senses. Just like how we can see, hear, speak, and write. Some popular examples you might have heard of: DALL-E, Ideogram, Adobe Firefly, Imagen from Google, Midjourney. Create amazing artwork from just a text description. There are so many models available to create images and now video. Claude and GPT-4 can look at your photos and help you understand what's in them. Anthropic's Claude can look at charts and graphs and explain them to you. Google's Gemini can watch videos and understand what's happening. OpenAI's Whisper can listen to speech and turn it into text. Apps like 11 Labs can turn text into surprisingly human speech. 11 Labs and a thing called Suno, and there's a bunch of others that you can actually describe a piece of music and it'll just produce it for you. With Suno, I just generated some lyrics and then I gave it to the machine to build me a song. Listen to this. Made in about 5 seconds. I'm throwing away all of these. Underneath all of these different abilities, they're using the same basic technology. It's just been trained to understand different types of information. Kind of like how our brain can process both what we see and what we hear. So whether you're typing to them, showing them pictures, or speaking to them, these AI tools can understand and help you in many, many different ways. Just like having a conversation with a real person who can both see and hear. Remember, they're not real though. They're not real people. Now, if you're wondering which one to try first, here's a tip. Start with the free versions. They're plenty powerful for most everyday uses like writing emails, helping with homework, or answering questions. Think of it like test driving a car. Try them out first. And they're all around that $20 a month, so the price isn't going to really differentiate between one or the other if you really want to buy one. Just remember, whether you're using them on your phone or computer, these are all connected to the internet. They need that connection to work their magic. So they're not like regular apps that work offline. Secondly, the data is not private. Don't assume that any secrets you share will stay private. Lastly, remember that all of these models have been trained by the internet. Does the internet get it wrong sometimes? Yep. Is the internet full of biases, lies, and half-truths? Yep. There's a term in AI called hallucinations. It's where the AI's got it wrong. Don't assume it's correct. Sometimes being presented too many options can seem daunting, and there's an appeal of asking a question and getting a clear, easy to understand answer. But be careful. It can get it wrong. I say use more than one of these tools when asking a question, especially if the answer is important. I say use multiple tools, ask multiple times, and ask the questions multiple different ways. Have fun and good luck.
Will AI affect my industry? One word? Maybe. What I'll do is over one side, I'll put a list of some of the professions that may be disrupted, and over the other, I'll display images or items and technology we no longer use. Now, let me tell you a little of my own story. I worked for a company called Kodak for 16 years in various roles. Kodak was huge, as all images were printed on film. Weird, right? Kodak even was part of the invention of the CCD that goes into most of the smartphone cameras today. And the technology was purchased in 2012 by a consortium of Apple, Microsoft, Google, and a bunch of others so that they could use it for smartphones that we use today. At Kodak's height in 1996, film was worth over $2.5 billion in profit. In the 90s, with more than 100,000 staff globally, and millions employed in labs and spin-off businesses. I witnessed the company shrink to less than 5,000 staff. Secondly, I started my working life as a tradesman in a thing called graphic reproduction. It was the bit between artwork and printing. Back then, it was a craft using film, industrial-sized cameras, precision cutting of masks for colour separations. The trade is very niche now. Print is still around, but it's not the way we communicate or learn things or get news. Almost 100% on computers, and most of the skills have no value now. But when they first introduced computers, I wanted to learn, and a lifetime later, I'm still in tech and I'm still learning. AI could see a lot of changes in the coming years, but as my lists stream down either side, one side is a change that could happen to your industry. The other is the many things that have changed and confirmation that we've adapted. Just think for yourself. So let's go. Firstly, words, writing, and grammar. There is estimated to be over 1 billion websites on the internet with tens of billions of pages. There are tens of millions of books digitized, videos, movies, songs, and TV shows. There is so much data these AI models have been trained on. The tasks it's been trained on, it can be pretty damn good. Writing tasks, emails, marketing content, stories, editing, scripting. Many professions have writing either at its heart, like an author or an editor. For many others, writing is part of many people's jobs. Lawyers, managers, customer service, software coders, documentation writers. Many people are already using AI, and either they are secretly using it or they are openly using it. For me, it's never been easier to summarize a meeting and reflect the discussion accurately in writing. I recall an appointment years ago I had with a doctor who looked at his computer the entire time we met, and I felt he was disconnected from me and my problems. I never stayed with this doctor, but now I can be more present. So AI can make us better. It's important in some jobs to make someone feel understood, but also to be well documented. I still think journalists, writers, editors will exist. They will use these tools to do more or do it differently. Those of us who use it as a part of our job are already seeing it improve things. Just like a typewriter and a spell checker made it easier, it's becoming easier again. Writers, good ones, have insight and a unique perspective. So maybe if you use words in your profession, make sure you've got something unique to say. AI can now hear, so we don't just need to type. It can also respond in an expressive voice. Receptionist, customer service, cold caller. Will this mean that no more dinner time phone calls? Now I won't feel so bad to say, no, piss off. Math and advanced reasoning was the frontier that AI struggled with. And each model they release gets better. And now the big frontier models are getting the model to think through problems. Just before Christmas, ChatGPT announced a model that apparently passes tests that only advanced PhDs could pass. The thinking was expensive. And this may be the way AI can threaten many high-level occupations, but it will cost money. But so do humans. Maybe an AI might be at the coffee machine with us. Will we be competing on cost? Who knows? It's not here yet, and the high-level coders that I work with at SSW would use AI in low-level tasks, but the human still sits above the process because they're ultimately responsible. They would never let it go and do things unsupervised yet. Now that AI can see, this adds another dimension to many professions. It can see a plant for agriculture, recommend water or weed spray. It'll look at my browser, act on what it sees, suggest a recipe when you scan the ingredients in your fridge. I think that tradespeople, medical professionals, or any job where observation is key, this tool could be useful and speed up our knowledge. It still needs a human to orchestrate the outcome because someone ultimately will be responsible. Images and videos are very good. Just 12 months, it improved so much. This definitely will disrupt photography, stock images, maybe TV, some movies, graphic art, and some creatives. Interestingly enough, some people had hope that when the machines become smart, they would take over the mundane tasks, like washing the dishes. But alas, these creative industries will be affected. Avatar in 2013 cost hundreds of millions on CGI. These are the sort of industries I think will be disrupted. Mind you, creative people have a way of adapting. I saw a piece of Aboriginal art that an AI could have theoretically copied fetch a record price just recently. Art and creativity are very multidimensional. And with images and video so easy to reproduce, some of this new stuff is hollow and it means nothing. In 2025, most nerds are talking about AI agents. This is where all of the capabilities can be used with your own data, like Siri or Amazon Alexa, or based on a business use case to actually do something in the real world, or string a bunch of capabilities together to do research, create content, automate tasks with an AI in the mix making decisions. There are a lot of industries this will affect, almost too many to list. As I said earlier, we have adapted before and I think we'll do it again. Lastly, there is news and noise in AI with robotics, then self-driving cars. This technology is moving fast, but it's nowhere near human. It seems that the real world is very complicated, and robotics is still better for narrow tasks. I don't think there is any cause for concern on this right now. In summary, AI has hoovered up all of the internet, learned how to predict the next word or pixel in an image or a video, can listen, look, and speak. It gets things wrong. It can lie. Although there is many impressive things, it's not alive, and it doesn't know what I'm doing or what I want unless I write it or tell it something with a well-crafted prompt. The big fears are for bad actors using it for bad reasons. But the good guys will have the same tools as well, like they always have. As I said earlier, don't stress about the future because nobody knows. Give it a try. Love to know how you go.